In the brutal landscape of World War II, where every resource had to be stretched to its limit, the reuse and transformation of captured military equipment became an essential strategy for the major powers involved. A striking example of this improvisational approach was the FCM-36 PaK-40, a unique self-propelled anti-tank gun born from the unlikely marriage of French infantry tank chassis and Germany's formidable PaK-40 anti-tank cannon. The creation of this vehicle not only reflected German ingenuity in repurposing battlefield spoils, but also highlighted the urgent need to counter the growing threat of Soviet heavy armor. Though produced in limited numbers, the FCM-36 PaK-40 remains a fascinating chapter in the evolution of armored warfare in the 20th century. After France's defeat in 1940, the German army seized approximately 50 FCM-36 tanks, a French design known for its solid armor but hampered by weak firepower and limited speed. As the war intensified, particularly following the launch of Operation Barbarossa in 1941, Germany faced increasingly formidable Soviet tanks like the T-34 and KV-1, both featuring sloped armor and superior combat performance. The standard German 37mm PaK-36 anti-tank gun quickly became ineffective, prompting an urgent need for more powerful anti-tank solutions. With Germany unable to immediately mass-produce new self-propelled guns, a practical alternative was adopted, converting captured chassis under the guidance of Major Alfred Becker, an experienced artillery officer, and his Bau Commando Becker unit based in Paris. A series of small-scale but effective conversion programs were launched. The FCM-36 was one such platform. Its original turret was removed and replaced with the new open-topped superstructure mounting the highly effective 7.5cm PaK-40 anti-tank gun. The vehicle retained its original frontal armor, offering moderate protection for the crew. Though modest in number and designed as a stopgap solution, the FCM-36 PaK-40 remains a clear example of the German Army's improvisational approach during times of equipment shortages. It highlights a flexible, resourceful strategy that sought to maximize the utility of every available asset on the battlefield. The FCM-36 PaK-40 was a German self-propelled anti-tank gun adapted from the chassis of the French FCM-36 light tank after 1940. Despite being produced in limited numbers, the converted version featured several notable technical characteristics. In terms of dimensions, the vehicle measured approximately 4.46 meters in length, 2.14 meters in width, and 2.22 meters in height. Its combat weight increased to around 12.8 tons, slightly heavier than the original tank due to the addition of the PaK-40 gun and a newly constructed upper superstructure. Some sources suggest a range between 12 and 13.5 tons, but 12.8 tons is generally considered the most accurate estimate, reflecting the modifications. Powering the vehicle was a Berliet V4 diesel engine delivering 91 horsepower. Resulting in a power-to-weight ratio of approximately 6.5 to 7.3 horsepower per ton. Although some sources mention an output of 105 horsepower, the lower figure aligns more closely with the vehicle's limited mobility. Its top speed was 24 kilometers per hour with a reverse speed of 10 kilometers per hour and an operational range between 200 and 225 kilometers. The tank used a vertical coil spring suspension system. However, its sluggish hull traverse and slow repositioning proved disadvantageous in mobile warfare scenarios. The FCM-36 PaK-40 was armed with the powerful 7.5cm PaK-40 L-46 anti-tank gun, one of Germany's most effective artillery pieces during the mid-war period. This weapon could penetrate up to 126 millimeters of armor using APC R rounds at close range and about 91 millimeters at 500 meters. With a firing rate of 15.9 to 16.6 rounds per minute, it could deliver between 1,750 and 1,826 damage points per minute. Thanks to its quick aiming time and low dispersion, the gun was highly accurate. However, its limited traverse range of only -7 to +7 degrees required the vehicle to reposition for wider target adjustment. The elevation ranged from -8 to +17 degrees, and the ammunition load typically reached 70 rounds. In terms of protection, the vehicle retained the original sloped armor of the French FCM 36 with 40 millimeters on the front hull, 20 millimeters on the sides and rear. The newly added superstructure featured 20 millimeters of frontal armor, minimal or no side armor, and 15 millimeters at the rear, sufficient only against shrapnel and small arms fire. The open-topped fighting compartment left the crew vulnerable to attacks from above, while the vehicle's relatively tall silhouette made it easier to spot and target. The FCM 36 PaK 40 operated with a crew of 4, driver, gunner, loader, and commander, doubling the manpower of the original tank. It offered a visual range of 400 meters, fairly good by the standards of the time, and a communication range of about 310 meters. The increase in crew size and interior space was a necessary trade-off to maximize firepower under wartime conditions marked by shortages of modern vehicles. The FCM 36 PaK 40 was one of several German self-propelled anti-tank guns converted from captured French tank chassis. Entering service in 1943, these vehicles were primarily deployed within Wehrmacht Panzerjäger, or tank destroyer units, most notably with the 21st Panzer Division. Under the leadership of Major Alfred Becker, who spearheaded the conversion of captured French vehicles into German weapon systems, the FCM 36 PaK 40 was assigned to Sturm Geschütz Abteilung 200, or Assault Gun Battalion 200. Some units had previously served with the Schnelle Brigade West, or Western Rapid Brigade, before it was integrated into the 21st Panzer Division in late 1943. On the battlefield, the FCM 36 PaK 40 was mainly used in ambush roles and long-range fire support to engage enemy armor. Armed with a formidable 7.5 centimeter PaK 40 gun, one of Germany's most effective anti-tank weapons at the time, these vehicles were capable of penetrating Allied tanks such as the American Sherman and British Matilda. Similar Martyr 1 variants also proved highly effective on the Eastern Front, where they successfully engaged Soviet T-34s and KV-1s that had once outclassed the standard 37mm guns. With strong firepower and good optics, the FCM 36 PaK 40 played a key role in defensive operations, particularly at a time when more advanced vehicles were in short supply. Despite its formidable firepower, the FCM 36 PaK 40 revealed several critical weaknesses on the battlefield. With a top speed of only 24 kilometers per hour and poor maneuverability, the vehicle struggled in mobile engagements. Its open-top fighting compartment exposed the crew to artillery, airstrikes, and infantry armed with grenades or anti-tank weapons. High profile and thin armor made it easy to spot and destroy, while the use of an aging French chassis led to frequent mechanical issues and a lack of spare parts. During the intense fighting in Normandy in the summer of 1944, the FCM 36 PaK 40, along with other Martyr 1 variants, engaged Allied forces in fierce combat. While capable of inflicting damage, these vehicles also suffered heavy losses due to their inherent vulnerabilities. By the end of the war, no surviving FCM 36 PaK 40s were recorded, marking the end of one of Germany's most improvised yet distinctive wartime weapons during a period of severe resource constraints. The FCM 36 PaK 40 stands as a striking example of how the German military in World War II maximized the use of available resources to compensate for the shortage of modern weaponry. Based on the chassis of the captured French infantry tank FCM 36, this vehicle was converted into a powerful tank destroyer, proving effective in defensive and ambush roles, particularly during the Normandy campaign of 1944. Under the direction of Major Alfred Becker, the transformation of the FCM-36 into a self-propelled anti-tank gun reflected both ingenuity and pragmatism within the German war machine. Despite clear drawbacks such as limited speed, thin armor, and an open fighting compartment, the 7.5 centimeter PaK 40 gun and superior observation range allowed the vehicle to perform well in specific tactical scenarios. The deployment of the FCM-36 PaK 40 illustrates that even temporary and unconventional designs could deliver tangible value on the battlefield. Though none survived the war and production remained limited, the FCM-36 PaK 40 remains a symbol of wartime adaptability and the strategic use of captured equipment under the pressures of total war.